Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob and Mr. Jasper, who doesn't usually sit up here this soon into a video. He is looking out the window because I just had somebody ring the doorbell, so I think he's making sure they're gone so that he can go on with his day. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon, and this week we are doing something a little bit differently. And that's because one of our members, Scrappin' on the Fly, has been doing this hop called Thankfully Inspired for the entire month of November. She chose a designer and then two of their layouts and is using those layouts to be inspired by. So we are going to be inspired by these two layouts today. We're going to play along with Kristen on the last day of the month for her Thankfully Inspired hop, and I've got a couple videos on her playlist myself, and there's some others as well who tried to play along this month. It is really hard to do daily videos for me right now, so you'll all have to just hope and pray that I can get started with the December prompts that I have ready to go and get them done. This is the November Hip Kit. It is always a Christmas kit, and this one has a lot of fun bright colors. They're kind of reminiscent of Simple Stories, some of their Christmas collections that I've seen in the past, but I pulled these for the photos of my youngest wearing the most adorable kitty cat tights I've ever seen. I bought those for her and she just loved them. This photo was taken in March or April of 2017, and so I've got a beautiful plaid, I've got this dark pink tone on tone, and then I have a houndstooth with all of the colors. On the dark pink tone on tone, I also have a polka dot. I may try to work that in there somehow. The title I'm going to be using is called This Is Adorable, and I'm going to see what I can do about covering up that flower, but I may not even worry about it. I may just add flowers from this. I didn't include a lot of the embellishments from this collection because obviously they're very Christmas oriented, but I know that I wanted this little scalloped border here to play with. So let's talk about the designs that we are to be inspired by this week. The one on the left is pretty much an L design. That is a go-to design for me if I'm trying to put something out and use pattern papers that can be layered. It's a great way to use a bunch of patterns and stuff. She also has a really beautiful pattern paper background. I'm going to be using just a piece of white cardstock and probably some stenciling here on this. The one on the left, what drew me to it is it still has the photos centered, kind of like the one on the left does, but it also has a cut file used as the background with papers peeking through. That's a really fun thing to do, and I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to mimic that with a little bit of stenciling, like I said. So I'm going to pause. We're going to get started with this, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I said I was going to do some stenciling in lieu of the cut file. So here is my brand new Picket Fence Studio stencil. I bought this, I don't know, early summer, and I'm just now opening it. I'm going to be using Pink Fresh Studios Licorice for the ink. It's black, but it's not what I would call a true black. It's almost as if it is kind of a dark gray. Anyway, and that may have been their intent for that. So I'm just going to put this in two places here on this layout, kind of keeping in mind of how I am putting the paper down. And so I don't want to I'm making sure that I don't do a whole lot of covering up. So that's the stenciling on my white 12 by 12 paper. And now I'm going to just start cutting down paper for the background. This first piece of paper. I believe I'm cutting 4.5 by 11 inches. So I'm just going to cut off this little sliver here. Isn't that a pretty plaid? It is such a pretty plaid. The next paper I'm going to cut, I think I'd cut it the same width, 4.5. And I'll cut that down in a minute. I believe I cut that down to 4.5 by 10.5 for the rest of these. So this one's only going to be 2.5 inches wide by 10.5. And so I'm going to end up with a bunch of little bitty pieces. And yeah, I see that my trimmer needs a new blade. It's making my cuts are a little fuzzy. I have to see if I have a new blade or not. I think I actually do, but I'm also going to Michael's later today, so if not, I'll grab one while I'm there. And maybe I'll just grab a pack anyway, because sometimes I run out or I need to change them and I don't have them. And if I don't have them now, I want to make sure that I will. This piece here that I cut off, I think it was the houndstooth that came off, I decided would make a great journaling piece. So I'm just going to put my 2 magnets down on there to hold it down. This is how my photos are going to end up on there. I will be matting those, but for now I just kind of want to get an idea of where placement's going to go. So next, I'm going to go ahead and cut the actual mat for my photos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in a 4.5 by, or a 4.25 by 6.25 photo mat, just so that I can make them a solid mat. It's basically the same as a 4 by 6 photo mat, but it's 2 photos, and I'm going to put them down just like that on my layout. And I can already see I need to add a little bit more stenciling to bring it all the way across to my paper, and I'll do that off camera in a minute. I have this tab punch, and I'm going to use it to create a little tab for the top of my journaling block. That's just something fun that I wanted to do, and I'm going to put some of the heart foam stickers on there, but first I want to get my title down, so let's get that pulled out. And I did decide not to try to even cover up the flower that's on the title. It doesn't really say Christmas per se. I mean, I guess it does, but it's okay. I'm going to use it anyway. And like I said, I'll be using some of these little foam hearts as well on the layout. Next up, I'm going to open up these floral packs. I would absolutely love the option of being able to get more than 1 pack of florals from Hip Kit when I get my kit. I think that would be a great addition, and I'm sure that they would absolutely sell them if they offered that option. But so far, they haven't listened to any of us who have suggested that. I suggest it every time they ask, so maybe they will, maybe they won't. So I'm layering up some flowers here. I'm trying not to overwhelm my layout with flowers. And I decided I needed to go ahead and put them in my my little tray there. It's a tray that goes with my magnetic mat, but it's not magnetic. It just kind of hooks underneath the side of it. And it's actually on the side of my mat at all times. I just usually crop the video out so you can't see it. And I do that because I think it's distracting if there's a bunch of stuff there. So now I'm going to pull out some hearts, and I'm just going to start putting them in clusters. I'm going to put a cluster up here by that top left of the photos. I'm going to do 2 stars and a heart, or 2 hearts and a dot on that. Then I put a heart and 2 dots on the tab, and then to the left of my title I'm going to put 2 hearts and another dot. And I think that's about all I'm going to put on here. Alright, I got this layout completely finished. Off camera I did extend my stenciling a little bit over here and a little bit over this direction, so there wasn't some white space up there. I ended up not using that scallop border after all. But I did put some hearts and little foam circles on here, and I popped my flowers up with foam adhesive just so that it would have some texture and depth on the layout. I'm really pleased with the way that this turned out. I love that sometimes you can take a very themed collection and use it for something that is not that theme. This of course is a Christmas collection. It's bright and fun, but I really like that I was able to pull off this layout with this collection. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I want to ask you to make sure that you check out that description box below. I will have the link to the original creator's Instagram account where you can check her out and leave her some love. I will also have a playlist down there for you to click on for this week's Scraplift Crafternoon. Remember that we are doing something a little differently. We are participating in Kristen's Thankfully Inspired as well as Scraplift Crafternoon. You're going to get at least 6 or 7 renditions of this layout that will be inspiring and amazing because my tribe is very talented and I really enjoy watching all of their videos and things come together. So also I have all of our Instagram accounts listed below for those who are not participating this week. I hope that you will go check their Instagram accounts out as well. You guys have a great Sunday and a great week. If you're traveling back home from Thanksgiving holidays, please be safe today. Bye.